Hello, sir.
Hi,
Hi,
Priyavada. How are
how are
you?
you? I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Good, good. I think we need a redundant system. So if some one person gets off, Priyavada or
Yeah,
somebody can take over.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
How was your trip, sir?
much
Very good.
ado, I'll let Sam talk about this topic today.
Okay, we'll do that. Uh,
Yeah.
don't worry. How is everyone? I know we are a little late. Priyavada, is it good time to start?
Oh, yes, yes, sir.
Greetings, everyone. Greetings from Chicago. My apology for a little delay. Uh, somehow there is some logistic issue. We hope next time we do a better job and handle it properly. Good to be with you. We have been talking about various subjects. And when I spoke to several young people, I find that they are all ultimately talking about their concerns and hopes for the next election. Next elections are around the corner. It's a matter of few weeks. And as a result, many of us felt that it would be a good idea to have a series of conversations until elections on variety of issues that affect and answer questions related to people's concerns for what is right, what is wrong, what are the priorities, key issues. And as a result, we collectively felt that we should have a conversation on the idea of democracy. And it turns out that recently I've written a book on the idea of democracy. It is going to be published by Penguin in the next few weeks. And it would be good for us to have open question answer sessions, series of sessions on what is democracy, why democracy, what are the institutions in democracy. Hold on just for a second. Yes. Hello. Yes. Yes, Pat. Yes. I'm going there. Yes. Uh-huh. No, I don't have an appointment yet. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Bye bye. Bye bye. Sorry about that. Um, this was an urgent call. That's why I took it. Um, yesterday I just slipped and fell and hurt my head a little bit. And my doctor friend, there's a little bump here. So my doctor friend wants me to go and get a CT scan. And that was the call. So sorry about that. No big deal. So we are going to have series of conversations on the idea of India. As I said earlier, it is about what is democracy, why democracy, what does it mean to have a democracy and its relationship with institutions, autonomy of institutions, civil society, uh, media, relationship between uh, capitalism and democracy, leadership, innovations, technology. There are all kinds of issues that we need to talk about, because today, world over, democracy is going through a crisis. As I said earlier in our formal conversations, that this year there will be elections in 40 different countries. You look at South Asia, all opposition leaders are being seriously harassed. In Pakistan, you know what is happening to Imran Khan. He's in jail. In Bangladesh, same thing. Even a friend of mine, Yunus, Nobel laureate, is going through a lot of harassment. Same in Mauritius, same in Sri Lanka, same in Myanmar, and to some extent, not to the same degree, same thing is going on in India. Somehow, we are all going through the same crisis where authoritarian leaders are rising, controlling, and democracy in the process is derailed. In most of the country, institutions are controlled. Civil society has no role. Just before this meeting, I was talking to Professor Natasha Call, who was not allowed to enter India in Bangalore. She was going to be speaking at a conference, and Professor had to come back to London. And I wanted to find out what exactly were the reasons and how she was treated. And I was surprised at the way it was handled, the reasons given, and you can get away with it. That is undermining of institutions. I know about her work. It is of no threat to anybody. It's an intellectual work. And why attack a person like that? What kind of a democracy is that? And this is going on a large scale. It is not about one incident or the other. I'm told there is a list of professors from abroad who are not allowed to enter. Never happened before. Okay? And these are the kind of things that worry me. That a country of 1.5 billion people should be welcoming everybody. These are your own people who went abroad and accomplished something and are doing some interesting work. And to go after them, it just doesn't make sense. I'm sure there are all kinds of reasons and all kinds of arguments, but the fact still remains that a lady professor is returned from the airport. She also has her old mother in India to see. It's just not human treatment, according to me. Now one can argue and discuss and debate. So let's have series of conversations on democracy, and I'd like you to raise questions, give your comments, debate, and see how we can get better understanding of the state of democracy in India, in South Asia, and globally. We have similar challenge in the US in the elections coming up in November this year. So I am concerned about the state of democracy because I have benefited from it. I know what it means to live in a democratic world. I lived in both democratic countries, largest, and oldest. I enjoy my freedom, my autonomy, all the flexibility that comes with the democracy. And I speak up. If somebody doesn't like it, too bad, we can have a conversation. But that doesn't mean we become enemy tomorrow. I agree to disagree with you with great respect, dignity, and that's what democracy is all about. So with this, Sean, Premvada, we should open up for a conversation.
Thank you, sir. So before I go to the questions, what my question is, do you think India's democracy is dwindling? Do you think because the we are rated now like downgraded from an electoral democracy to an electoral autocracy? So do you think it's just this phase, or do you think the picture is now like it's that we can't be saved now?
It's not like that. I think it is, and also not necessarily the grading of somebody else that I'm concerned about. I'm concerned about how our people experience. I'm concerned about three fundamental issues. One, autonomy of our institutions. Election Commission, Supreme Court, police, security, safety, ED, and you name it, all the government, income tax office, are they really autonomous, or they are taking direction from somebody in the government to go after A or go after B? Like when I spoke to Professor Calls, he said, all these people at the airport said there is instruction from Delhi. That's it. What does it mean to have instruction from Delhi? Okay. Under what rules and regulations you are refusing me the entry? Not, you can't do it based on instructions from Delhi. And she said the people were helpless. They were good, unnecessarily wasted a lot of my time, and had no answers to anything. What was my crime? What did I do wrong? Which particular article you wanted to refer to? No, we have instructions from Delhi. Now that's pretty alarming. Okay. So that means institutions are not independent. They are not making decisions based on their judgment of the situation. But they are basically following instructions from the government, and they are not autonomous. Second is civil society. The role of civil society is normally to really provide public service, work on education, health, and be a watchdog. Civil society is being harassed. Civil society is under attack by government saying you didn't pay this tax, you didn't pay that tax, and there are all kinds of procedures. They can come up with anything, okay, and detain you, saying as per the rules and regulation of such and such, you haven't done this, so you pay 5 rupees fee for this which you didn't pay in time. So procedures are used in a twisted way to really undermine democratic values. Third, media. Control of media to a point. Other people's message don't go out. I know that Rahul Gandhi has been under attack for 10 years. Severe attack. 24 court cases, including one on rape. And nothing has come out. But look at the amount of pressure being put on a person. He was telling me that when he goes out on these yatras, in the city he goes in, they fiddle with internet. So internet is not working. in that part, so your message doesn't go out. So this is all not democratic. The misinformation campaign about everybody. It's just decent people don't do these things. Okay? Decent people respect other people's privacy, have a dignified discourse, have some sense in a logical conversation. This is all tutu meme. You did this, you did that, and wrong history, wrong data, wrong allegations. It's all frightening. I'm telling you, and I've experienced it, and I know it, and I'm willing to say it. Okay? Because at my age, I need to really worry about these things. I don't have much time, and I can't hide. So when I have to answer your question, I would say these three are very important issues. Independence of institutions is not about voting. People say, oh, we have voting. No, voting is the beginning of a democracy. And there also you manipulate. You manipulate with machines. You manipulate with institutions. You, manipulate voter lists. All of these things are going on. I don't know to what extent. I have no idea. But I know it's going on. We have seen the proof. We saw what happened in Chandigarh. Okay. So, for someone like me, I would say democracy is under attack in a very systematic, organized way. Period. Now we can have a conversation. You may say you are wrong. I'm willing to have a conversation. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Priyamada. Sorry, Sam. I was asking, how are you feeling, Sam? Now, yesterday you said
I'm okay. I just fell down.
Okay.
Something was sprayed on the floor. It was slippery. I didn't realize, and I fell down in my own house, hit a big wood table. It's okay. A little bit of scratch here and there, and just a little bump here. And a couple of calls that are coming while I'm talking are from my doctor, because I take a medication called Eloquest.
Okay.
Eloquest is a blood thinner. And this doctor friend of mine said, look, because you take Eloquest, the chances of bleeding are very high. So he wants me to go get a CT scan to make sure there is no bleeding inside. And if there is bleeding inside, they can take it out with an injection or, put a little hole in the skull or whatever. It's not a big deal. But I don't feel anything. I can think, I can walk, I can stand, I can, smell. So he said, you're okay. But my doctor is always very, very concerned. Until I finish that, he will keep calling me.
Okay.
Because he's a personal friend.
Okay.
Great guy. Wonderful human being.
We're fortunate to have good Dr. Sam, and take care, Sam.
Good friends.
Take care.
You are all great friends.
We pray for your quicker recovery.
No problem. I'm fine. Don't worry about it.
Speedy recovery.
Pray for democracy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Priyamada, as I said, today I have a bunch of questions on the context of the book. So I will come back to you by.
Yeah. Of course.
Okay, you need to stay tuned. Okay.
Yeah.
So coming back to the Sam, I think I have read this. Albert Camus have mentioned democracy is not the law of the majority, but the protection of the minority. He also, I think, have mentioned about it in the book. So, what do you think about the minority's role? Not only in India, at least in America, a lot of the immigrants are the minority. So, what is the future role of minorities in the global democracies like India, America?
See, ultimately, all of these things relate to what we believe in as an individual. Do you believe in respecting other human being or you don't? Do you believe in respecting women or you don't? Do you believe in protecting people who are not as strong as you are? It's like in a family, if you have a handicapped person in the family, you pay extra attention. You spend more money, more time, more energy on that person. Now, if somebody is healthy and says, look, you are being unfair to me because you are spending more time and resources on this handicapped person, that's not fair. So, as a majority, it is my responsibility to take care of minority. And I have to overdo it at times. Okay. Because it's my job. They are part of my family. Okay. And they are in minority. So it is my job to do favors to them. Now, you can't say that means you are favoring these people. Of course you are. That's your job. Okay. That's why you are majority. Okay. But if you don't believe in that and you say, oh, they are minority, they should be mistreated, they should be mishandled. Okay. They are taking too much of our resources. There's nothing you can do. There's no argument based on moral construct. So ultimately, everything boils down to what you believe in. I mean, look, we have in US today a situation where Mr. Trump, who is a potential candidate, he would perhaps win, can lie, can say anything and get away with it. Has, apparently cheated on the income tax. Okay. Has presented wrong documents. Okay. But he is still popular. So it tells us what people value. I think there is something fundamentally going on in the world. I don't know what that is. Something very fundamental is going on in South Asia, where all opposition parties are attacked and all dictatorial leaders are worshipped, successful, in control, and to some extent, other democracies are also headed that way. It is alarming because I believe democracy has given this world the prosperity we all enjoy. It is democracy in America that invented transistor, that invented computers and software and military hardware and promoted consumer boom. And it is democracy in America that built Japan, Germany, Korea, South Korea. And it is democracy in America that made education more accessible, invented internet, provided, communication everywhere, essentially connected the whole world. It would have never happened in dictatorial regime. Okay. So do we want that kind of an environment, or you want dictatorial regime where everybody is suppressed? You even have to get a permission to move from one location to another. Okay, you're always afraid of government and you have lost your freedom, autonomy. Okay. Freedom to think, freedom to move, freedom to act, freedom to write. Okay. And that's why democracy is very important. Because democracy is all about progress. It's empowering human being. Okay. Do you want to empower more people or you want to empower fewer people? It's about top-down approach versus bottom-up approach. It's a Gandhian approach. Democracy is Gandhian approach. It is bottom-up development. Small is beautiful. SMEs to network to scale and not have one big plant which produces everything. Look at the concentration of wealth going on today. I'm told in India, 17 people own more wealth than 500 million Indians. Can you imagine that? 17 people own wealth more than 500 million people. How did they make that wealth? You think they're so smart that they can do that? Even if you're manufacturing of money, you can't accumulate that much wealth. It is the contribution of the people. What did people get out of it? Why is there so much income inequality? So these are very complex questions and needs deep thinking. Ultimately, it boils down to equality. What is democracy to you and me? It's about freedom, justice, diversity, equality, respect, dignity, yeah, peace. These are fundamental issues. Okay. And these things are being challenged.
Sam, you have always championed establishment of independent and accountable autonomous institutions that promote free and fair elections, which is the underpinning of any democracy. Why you believe that free and fair elections are a very important part of a democracy?
That is a starting point. Okay. Elections mean we are giving all our rights to a person from that constituency to go represent us and do things right for us. And if that person is not selected properly with fairness, honesty, then I've lost my right. I put my right in wrong hand. Okay. But that's the beginning. That's not the end. Okay. So first thing is to have fair elections and not manipulate things so that you get your guy and irrespective of who I voted. So the main thing in election is, are you counting the vote I'm casting? Fundamental issue. And that's where I have issue with EVM now and VVPAT. And I firmly believe that you are not sure whether the vote you are casting is the vote being counted. And I don't have to prove anything. So don't ask me to prove this and prove that. You have to prove it. You are conducting election. I'm not conducting election. I'm your customer. Okay? So treat me with respect because I'm your customer. Now it is flipped as if they are my customer. Okay? I'm not willing to accept that. Okay? And that's why I'm advocating that VVPAT is a wrong place to put your trust. You broke my trust. Okay?
There is trust deficit, we all agree. But you have also mentioned there is a honest and unbiased judiciary, effective administration, a free press, an active civil society, and robust participation by people. These are all needed in your book. So, and just want to know, we have a few many of this missing. Maybe free press is not there anymore. Godi media, everybody is always gaga about Narendra Modi and his administration, and the administration itself is not effective anymore, and it's biased. And judiciary also, people have this trust deficit. So, what do you think? The active civil society can be a kind of a solution?
There is no one solution. Active civil society is a requirement. In any society, if community doesn't participate, you cannot build systems required for checks and balances. Okay. But before I go further, I must tell you that the book is not public yet. The book is going to be published by Penguin in next couple of weeks. It is in printing now. When it is published, Penguin will have conversations on the book. It will be released officially. It is in English. Then we'll have a detailed conversation on the book. So right now we are not having conversation on the book. We are really having a conversation on the idea of India as you all see it. Okay. So I want you to really articulate your concerns.
Sure thing, sir.
I time and time again say that democracy is about independent of institutions. In America, things work because institutions are very powerful, independent. There are so many think tanks, and there are so many, universities, and we can always do better. But still, institutions are independent, flexible, autonomous. The campus life here is very different from campus life in India. Okay. But then institutions are one piece of the puzzle. Civil society is another piece, media is third piece, politics is fourth piece. There are all kinds of things. It's a very complex system. And most of the people don't know how to deal with complex systems. Complex systems require its own thinking. We have not trained people to have thinking in complex systems. Okay. You can't make some of these things very simple. Ultimately, you have to make it simple to think through. But these are very complex systems. Okay.
Sure. I think Dilsad is also asking something similar from LinkedIn. I think it's about civil society's participation. I think you already answered
Yeah, I'm
it.
just looking at it. It seems from the interactions of common people that the democratic system is faltering in India, but what the opposition and the civil society is doing to prevent it? Well, civil society is being attacked. They are trying their best. Opposition also is being attacked systematically. They are also trying their best, but it's apparently not adding up. Okay. So it's a uphill battle. I mean, look at farmers' uh, demonstrations. It's an example of what you have to go through to get attention. Okay. This has been going on for 2 years, on and off. Okay. And there are many examples like this. There are similar demonstrations going on EVM. Okay. I'm sure there'll be similar demonstrations on employment, unemployment. People are concerned because you're not getting hearing until you come on the street, apparently. Okay.
The three pillars of democracy: legislature, executive, and judiciary, all should be autonomous, independent, and separate. Are they in some
That
of
is
the
what the
democratic?
Constitution says. That's what the Constitution says. Okay. Are you really working with Constitution as your conscience, as your guide, or you are undermining Constitution itself? Okay. People have to decide that. People of India will have to speak up and say, is this acceptable to me? If it is acceptable to more people, who am I? Okay. But again, you have to realize that the democracy today, the way it is structured in a way winner takes it all. You could have 40% of the people voting for you, you get maximum seat, and then you get to decide for the 100% of the people. So that's why in a couple of my conversations on media, I've said that prime minister is a prime minister of a country and not of a party. Prime minister must always talk about the nation. And when prime minister of a country starts into debate about opposition and starts blaming this and that, to me, it doesn't look good. It's okay once in a while. But all the time doing that tells me that you're not concerned about the larger public good. Okay? You're focused on petty scores to settle. And that's not good for democracy. Okay. So when you get elected, immediately you have to realize that a small number of people who elected you can't be your total focus. People who didn't vote for you are also your people. They also matter as much as people who voted for you. And that's what democracy is.
So the fourth pillar of the democracy is supposed to be media. I think right now, I think media is dominated by misinformation, disinformation, particularly information. So information is directly becoming the fourth pillar, and there's a lot of data. What do you think about the role of information and data in this whole new scheme of democracy?
Information is the fourth pillar of democracy. Media is a piece of that information. Media is the machine that distributes that information. Information include all kinds of government data, GDP, GNP, per capita income, education, health, mining, resource, business, all kinds of data. How that data is presented, used, is equally important because a lot of this data is fudged. A lot of this data is misrepresented. You can take the same data and twist it and tell people, oh, we are doing so much. Okay. So one is data presentation and clarity, and two, how media presents it. If there is a good news from the viewpoint of one party, it will be shown over and over and over again on media. If it is the news about opposition, good news, it will never be shown. Okay. And that's how media is manipulated. So media is a delivery system. And today, it is not just the broadcast media. It is the print media that is under threat. It is the social media where there are restrictions. Systematically, lists are submitted by the government to social media saying you better watch these people. I mean, that's just not done. Okay. I know my own Twitter account hasn't changed for 7 years. Same number, 365,000 people. It doesn't go up, doesn't go down. I fail to accept that. But that's okay. I'm not concerned about that. I'm not an important person. I'm not a politician in that sense. I'm not a big actor who needs, a lot of followers and all. I'm not selling anything. I'm not monetizing media. So it doesn't matter. Okay. But that's the kind of stuff going on.
Sure. You,
And in the process, fear is generated. See, this is very important. People are afraid to speak up. Okay. When I spoke to Natasha Call, I could sense a little bit of concern and fear, saying, what will happen to my mom?
Mm.
Go visit her. You know, she's old. I mean, that's a fear. Okay. And no one asked her, saying, would you like to go and see your mom first? Okay. Maybe you are not allowed to make a presentation, but you can go see your mom. No, because that's human. Okay. But there's an order from Delhi not to allow you to enter, and that's it. Okay. And it's just not fair. I don't know the real truth. I've just talked to her, and I believe she's telling me the truth. And I saw her version of the truth. But I know how these things work. Okay.
Sam, on the taking the leaf out of the information becoming the fourth pillar of democracy, which is a new theory. I think which is very important. I think more than media, media is just a part of the information age or the information element of the pillar. So I think you have championed something called Right to Information Act during the last government of Congress, Indian National Congress. So I think there are equivalent laws in America, Freedom of Information Act, etc. So, but now this particular Right to Information Act is diluted to the core. This was the one of the last saving grace of this elected democratic government, which many people believed to bring transparency, to know about the corruption and few other things. But right now it's diluted a lot, and it's not followed in full spirit. What are your thoughts? So, how can we come up with more checks and balances? You are coming up with some new inventions like this, and somebody is able to dilute that same democratic tool. Are there any solution for the same?
During Dr. Manmohan Singh's time, there was a National Advisory Council under Sonia Gandhi. And this council had some very interesting people, very capable, well known social activists like Aruna Roy, economists, judges, and others. And rightfully so, that group decided to first focus on right to information. Right to information was the key to democratic processes. We spent a lot of time together and finally got through to right to information, but you need infrastructure with local courts and chief information officer and all that stuff. And the idea was to make government more open and transparent and accessible. So if you want to know something, you write to the office of the information, and then they will get you the documents. Okay. With digital technology, it is becoming easier to access a lot of these documents. This government has tightened the screws as to what kind of information you can get, what you can't get. And it's sad. We should be more liberal about information. Okay. So that battle continues. Right to information is an important tool. It is in America as well. You can ask for some information if it is public and in public domain, you will get it over a period of time. And this is where civil society also comes in. If there is a project, let's say, on which government has spent so much money, it is public money. People have a right to know where did the money go, who got the contract, how did it happen, what was the price. It's fine. It's perfectly normal thing to do, transparent thing to do. So right to information is a very important tool for any democracy. Okay. And there are questions from the audience. Yeah, okay, good.
Yeah. Yeah,
Upadhyay.
Upaday from YouTube is asking, I'm from first democracy of world, Bihar. How can people participate in robusting the democracy in our country, India, in present time?
I think people like you have to educate, Mr. Upadhyay. People like you have to participate and go out and talk to your neighbors and relatives and friends and, and get people excited about the freedom, justice, equality. We don't have enough conversation in public domain on these kinds of issues. We have a lot of energy going into entertainment, sports, and political gossip. If you look at our news and analyze and you talk to somebody, talk to 10 people on the street, they'll know more about movies and songs and dance and all, which is okay. They know more about cricket and, sports, and they know more about political gossip. This fellow attacked that fellow and this fellow attacked that, and this is a rumor. But about fundamentals, there's very little conversation. And democracy is one that requires deep conversation and understanding about local issues, roles and responsibilities.
There is a strong concern in India. A couple of the creators, Dhruv Rathi and Deshbhakt, have spoke about the growing dictatorship in India in the recent times. Dhruv Rathi's video went to reach millions of people within the release last week, and the same with the Deshbhakt. Deshbhakt was talking mostly about the digital dictatorship. Are you worried that India is getting to a autocratic environment, Sam?
Yes, of course, India is into autocratic environment. I mean, today everything is from top down. I mean, in a country where every project, everything is credited to the prime minister of a country, it's not good. It's not good for prime minister. Okay. I mean, stadium is named for a living prime minister. Okay. Every inauguration, every project from satellite to laying telephone cable to whatever is accomplishment of the prime minister. What kind of a democracy is that? That means that nobody is doing anything. Okay. That is a sign of an authoritarian regime. Okay. And everybody giving credit to, and every minister's conversation, it is immediately first 60 seconds. It is our honorable prime minister who has done this and done that. Come on, give me a break. Okay. That is a sign of authoritarian attitude.
So, are you thinking that post this 2024, how important is 2024? And in case if you are not doing the civil society is not doing the right thing in the 2024, or even if the EVM, VVPAT things, whatever we are championing, kind of 100% VVPAT, etc., is not happening. So, do you think we'll become a 100% dictatorship kind of model? Are you worried?
We don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Okay. I don't have crystal ball, but I can tell you, based on the pattern I have seen, that I'm worried. I'm very worried about the results of the 2024 election. India's destiny depends on 2024 election. India's democracy depends on 2024 election. India's economy, employment, inflation, education, everything is of concern to me today. Okay. And I'm worried. I've said it. But I hope other people have questions, Sean.
Yes, Sam. I think there are a few other questions from Tragic Kingdom. There's a person from YouTube, but I think it's mostly relevant. Priyamata, do you want to go for the questions?
Yeah. So there is a question from Ye Big guy, can you just unmute and ask your question? Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, Priyamada. Sorry for the name.
Yeah, I
Mani
was not.
Ayo, you could call me.
Okay, yeah.
Hello, Sam.
Yes, sir.
First of all, wish you well and a speedy recovery.
Thank you. No big deal. Thank you.
Yep. Yep. Sam, you mentioned in your conversation just now that institutions are compromised, like judiciary, media, universities, law enforcement, etc., and which are fundamental for a proper functioning democracy. So I do agree. And in fact, Congress party in its official communication has said this many times before. I've heard Rahul Gandhi say it, that we are not living in a democracy. Like it's a sham, that sort of thing. So this is like all well and good. Like I agree with this view. But then, like, like the solutions that are proposed, like you mentioned Mahatma Gandhi, like some time back in this very conversation. And, Mahatma Gandhi himself, like, did not live most of his life under any democracy, right? He fought for democracy. In his heart, like he had like democracy principles, like respect for those and so on. But he fought for those, but he didn't live under a democracy. So he fought the British, assuming that like they have like what malevolent intentions, that sort of thing. What I mean is, like, if we are not living in a democracy, the solutions can't just be those that address structural issues, like some technocratic solution, how RTI Act could be better designed. Of course, like, I mean, it's, I mean, I'm saying that it's the malevolence that's causing us not to have the democracy. It's not structural problems. So the solution has to be aimed at like changing the regime, right? And for that, it requires a decisive pro-democracy movement. Like everything else, like is to be addressed later, like all the other problems. So,
Agree.
I mean,
Agree.
what I mean is like the protesting lawyers, and they talk in this constitutional language, Bhanu Pratap and Mehmood Pracha and all. They have been seeking an appointment with the political parties, mainly Rahul Gandhi, because they think that he is the principal actor and who can change the course of this their movement. But from 5 months, they have been seeking his appointment and not getting it.
Not true. Not true. Okay, that's wrong information. Because I talked to them, so I know. Okay.
I heard in one of the interviews. I could be
Yeah,
wrong.
but that's okay. Yeah, that's okay.
Sure.
See, I first of all, I agree with you that the key challenge is for people to vote right. Okay. And I agree with you that civil society has taken EVM as one issue, which is of importance. Farmers have taken their issue. Employment, young people will take their issue. And there are multiple issues. And regime change is the answer. I agree with that also. Okay. Rahul Gandhi has not given time and will give time is really irrelevant issue to me. Okay. Because movement has to start at the ground level. People will join if it is the right movement. Rahul Gandhi has spoken on EVM. The problem is poor Rahul Gandhi has so much time. And I'll tell you, I was with him in the last week for 3 days. And the amount of phone calls I get for people to meet him is completely out of control. And everybody wants half an hour. And there are 100 requests per day. There isn't enough time. You can't just do it. So some people will say, oh, I didn't get time. It's humanly not possible. Okay, it's unfortunate that that's how life works. Even in a small level, in my case, I get so many emails and so many messages, I cannot keep up with it. Somebody can argue and say, look, Mr. Pitroda doesn't respond. Of course, I don't respond because I'm not capable of responding to everybody. So these things happen. At individual level, in a country of 1.5 billion people, there will be always complaint that Rahul Gandhi is not meeting me. Okay. Because everybody wants his attention and time, and he has to decide where and when to intervene. But the fundamentals are clear that he is for democracy. He believes in the idea of India that Mahatma Gandhi had and Congress party has. And he's trying his best. Maybe it's never enough. Okay, we can fault him for that. But I can tell you, he works long hours. Look at his yatra. Okay. It just takes huge amount of energy to shake so many hands and listen to them and work with them and give them hope, and it's not easy. But I agree that some people might feel that, oh, Rahul Gandhi is not spending enough time on my issue, which is legitimate, and I sympathize with them. Okay.
Are
But
there any
I
other
will ask anything else you have.
Yeah, just Pratham, you do like to ask question?
Somebody has this, share me what idea come to your mind
No, that
when
is
you hear the word democracy.
no, that
Oh,
is your banner, Sam.
Huh?
yeah, that is your.
Okay.
Yeah, so Pratham, go ahead, ask your question.
Yeah, hello, am I audible?
Uh, yeah, you are. Can you hear, sir?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can hear.
Yeah.
Hello. Yeah, so my question is, do you think we need a reform bill in
I can't hear, Pratham.
social change?
You are feeble, Pratham.
Yeah, your voice is little feeble. So, I can ask sir question. So his question is, whether any reform bill is needed when the new government is voted to power. Do you think we need a reform bill in social change, democratic like policies, and so that
No,
these
I think
things won't repeat again, like what we are facing right now?
no, I think you have to just follow the constitution. Okay. It's all there in the constitution. I'm telling you, constitution is pretty good. And if you follow this little book, okay, Constitution of India, it has everything. Okay, I keep it on my desk. Okay. And I'm telling you, this has everything and it's so well done. Okay. You have to follow. But if you're not going to follow, what can you do? Yeah.
So, but what about the media, like how it's twisted right now? So, to ensure that these things don't happen in future, like when the new government is elected, we don't want the repeat of how the media is controlled and the businesses work for the government and the
Yeah,
poor
but
people suffering again.
for that people have to be, I wouldn't say trained, but people have to really take care of checks and balances. Okay. No amount of rules and regulations will work if people are crooks, lying, cheating, manipulating, okay, are being vindictive. And nothing you can do. Okay? You can put some in jail, okay, but that's not the idea. Idea is to believe in something. See, today, world over, there is a crisis because there is no good global constitution. Okay, there is a gentleman, I work with Mr. Khan in India, a bright young person who has spent a lot of time in looking at the global constitution. Okay. And time has come for people to think of global constitution, which basically says we won't hurt each other. We'll work for peace, prosperity together. We'll take care of our environment and, simple things that we agree on. Can we agree on 10 things and then genuinely work towards it? So ultimately, it's quality of people. values you believe in. We have all the laws in place today, but who is following these laws? Okay, according to law, that Professor Call should not be held at the airport and returned. Okay, she had no valid reason. There is no proper documentation. There is no proof of anything. Okay, now that's not fair. But then who cares if it is fair or not? Because police has been told to do something, and they did it because they followed the boss. That means institutional autonomy wasn't there. So ultimately, it boils down to doing your job properly as per the constitution. People have to stand up and tell their leaders, hey, I can't do that because this is not proper. I will not do it. Okay? But if you are a coward, if you bend your back to follow the rule because you have to preserve your job and all, then that's what you get.
Sure, sir. Neil D'Souza is asking, can working democracy and the inexpensive manufacturing in the models of China can coexist?
It's a very interesting question because Rahul Gandhi, in his speech at Cambridge, talked about the production crisis in the world. Today, all production has moved to China. So Europeans, Americans, and others basically don't produce much. They are more interested in service business, high-end consumption, and as a result, good jobs have disappeared. So unless and until production moves to democratic part of the world, which include partnership between EU, US, India, and other countries, you will not be able to bring those jobs back. And without production, there's no future. Okay. So the need of the hour today is to bring production to democratic countries. This was one of the topics discussed. And you look at the other two challenges are energy, mobility. Energy transition is very important for the world because it is also connected to global warming. And China is far advanced on energy transition than any other part of the world because they have mastered the production. Same with mobility. So mobility and energy transition are equally important in the production equation. Okay. What kind of energy transition is required for the production in developing, not in democratic world?
Sure, sir. I think Anup Hiwale is one of our friend is asking about misinformation is replacing information. Can we inform people in our yatra style?
Well, that's what we are trying to do in Yatra, but it can only be done by people visiting door to door. No one leader can do that. It has to be a decentralized model. See, I'm big on decentralization from day one. Okay, I'll tell you my view on decentralization. First of all, I learned more about decentralization from Gandhi, who talked about rural development. He talked about small is beautiful, and then I read enough about Schumacher in my young days. So when I started my work on telecom in India, I decided that as opposed to centralized big exchanges, we will develop small rural exchanges. We won't worry about telephone density, we'll worry about telephone access. We'll worry about indigenous development, ancillary industries, local production, local design, local development, and build human capacity. That model was exactly opposite to what Western world was proposing then. So it required a lot of political will from Rajiv Gandhi to support this kind of a transition. Without that transition, we won't be where we are in IT and telecom today. Young people have no idea how we got there. Okay. We trained tens of thousands of people in IT and software and all that. It took 30 years to get to a point where we have 1.2 billion phones and we have $200 billion worth of software export business every year, year after year. So decentralization is the key. Today's models are all centralized, and centralized model create inequality in wealth. This decentralized model in telecom really exploded with cellular phones. It took us 115 years to get to 1 billion telephones in the world. Then it was a centralized system. Per line cost of the telephone was 1,000 lines, all $1,000 per line all the time. Then came cellular telephony. Cost went from 2,000 to 1,000 to 500 to ultimately $100. And we added 7 billion phones in 20 years. That is the power of decentralization. So we need decentralization in energy architecture. See, today you have a centralized power station, big cables, power line carrier or power line cable to carry power, and the losses could be 30%, 40%. Okay. And that kind of loss requires us to focus on decentralized microgrid architecture. So in power, in mobility, in environment, everywhere we need decentralized model.
Vidushi Shukla from YouTube is asking what Rahul Gandhi is trying to do is at work at a deeper level where he's motivating people to think if there is a injustice happening to them and around them. So I think it's more of a commentary. See, I think maybe we want to piggyback on Vidushi Shukla's commentary. Why there's a lot of expectation on one person? I think people think whether Narendra Modi is the Goliath and Rahul Gandhi is the David. So is that the David Goliath thing? The expectation is set across the country's mind.
No, I don't think the battle is between people. It's a battle of ideas. 2024 election is not about Modi versus Rahul Gandhi or about BJP versus Congress. 2024 election is about the idea of India. What kind of India you want? Do you want really democratic, free, fair India where there is equality, justice, dignity, respect, inclusion, peace, and prosperity? Or you want India which is authoritarian, top down, that is differentiating people, polarized politics, promotes hate, misinformation, violence, and ultimately resulted in more unemployment, more inflation. If that's what you want, fine, no problem. You pick. That's what 24 election is about. It is not about Goliath. It is not about, Rahul Gandhi or Modi. Okay. Because people come and go. We all have to go at some point in time. Okay. Nobody's there forever, but the ideas are there forever. Idea of free India, idea of democratic India, idea of India with equality, idea of India with diversity is what we stand for. And that is what we are fighting. So I'm very clear. And earlier comment was that how do we promote that? I think each one of us will have to go and talk to people. Each one of us will have to talk to 100,000 people. Even if we talk to 100, that's good enough. But if we can talk to 1,000, that's great. So a lot of people ask me saying, look, I want to help on election. What do I do? Because everybody wants to help Rahul Gandhi in strategy, and we don't need strategy in business. Okay. So don't try to boil the ocean. Okay. Just go talk to your own community, your own friends, your own parents and relatives and cousins and nephews, your own community. Convince them to do right things. And if enough of us do that, there'll be a change.
I think one call to action, what all of us can take from your input, Sam. Many of us who have the liberal mindset might have left our own friends, family, or student alumni WhatsApp groups in the past 10 years because of all these extreme thoughts. Maybe it's time for all of us to go back and join those and then try enlighten and try see whether we can change at least few minds.
Because you're talking to yourself and your friends who are convinced. So don't spend your time in talking to people who are already convinced. Okay, talk to people who are not convinced. That's a tougher job. Okay, everybody wants simple job. So you're trying to convince me is of no value. I'm already converted. Okay, so don't waste your time on me. Use your time more effectively somewhere else.
So, but it is very difficult to, prove your point to those who are staunch from the right wing. It is very, I have like my friends who are completely like they're from the shakhas, if you can say. And because they are taught in the shakhas to hate basically the Gandhi family. Like, so that hate is built in them when they are very, very, they're teenager age. So, it's very difficult to counter them because they have this inbuilt
So
hate
look,
in
we are
them.
not
So
talking about, you have to say we are not talking about any family. We are not talking about
yeah,
any
I
person.
mean, so
We are talking
basically
about the
their
idea
whole,
of
yeah.
India.
Hmm.
Okay, we are talking about the idea of India. Don't bring in family in between. Don't go into personalities. Talk about the purpose. Okay, what is our purpose? Don't drag into personality. Okay. Then there are people who are on the fringes. You don't need to talk to a hardcore person because you're not going to convince him.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's no sense in trying to talk to hardcore people. Leave them aside. But there are lots of people on the fringes. Can you convert them? Otherwise, you're wasting your time. So, three buckets. One bucket, people who are convinced. Second bucket, people who cannot be convinced. Third bucket is what you want to focus on. Maybe. Maybe you can convince them. Maybe you can help them think through.
Yeah, like those who are little sitting on the
Exactly.
fence types. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Thank
I
you.
think Manav is asking about our Himachal Pradesh episode recently. I don't know whether you want to respond to that, Sam?
Well, I know about it. We were in middle of it. And, when you try to buy people out with money, in India, you can get a lot more done. So you throw in front of some MLA 20-25 crore cash. And, they'll say, okay, this is my lifetime earning. My whole family and generation will be taken care of. I'll change the party. It is that simple. And these are the people who say we are honest and we are, non-corrupt. And these are on both sides. Okay. We don't use money for this and that. So everybody's a hypocrite. Yeah. You can buy anybody. It's a matter of price. Yeah.
Everybody and everything has a price in democracy.
It looks like it because there is no principle. Who is this very much scared about democracy in India? Sunil Mathur.
Sunil Mathur and
What do you mean, Sunil? Okay. Democracy vanished here in this. Only the shake of name. Well, Sunil, it's Sankalp.
Yeah, Sankalp, yeah.
Malhotra. No, Mr. Malhotra, we have to change it. You have to change it. You can change it. You have so many flags in back of you. You can change it. I see all these great flags.
So, okay, coming back to the end of the session, Sam, I think you have mentioned the heart of democracy, 3 principles: popular sovereignty, political participation, and political contestation. So I think we want to take the participation and contestation of all the youths as a kind of a call to action you are recommending, and we'll try to meet more and discuss again on the idea of democracy in the next week. You have any passing? Go ahead.
You go ahead. Sorry, my apology.
No, you have any passing thoughts, conclusion, summary, Sam?
No, I would say each one of you will have to go talk to people. Make your own little videos, make your own sort of create your own messages and send it out to your friend circles. Meet with them, have tea with them, convince them, their families. Okay, just make phone calls. Yeah. I mean, if each one made 1,000 phone calls, that's a huge number. Okay. But nobody wants to do that. Yeah. That's the kind of work required today.
Sounds good, sir. I think that's a phenomenal call to action. Now we'll try to see whether we can do something.
And we have a lot to talk. We have a lot to talk about this topic. Leadership, technology, capitalism and democracy, innovations in democracy. I'm even saying we need to redesign our democracy. Okay, the way it is, it's not good enough for the 21st century. Okay, it has to be more participative. Okay, it has to be more issue-based. And today it is not participative at all. You elect a person and you send him to Delhi or Washington, and then you forget about everything. How could that one person represent everything in your constituency? You have no connection with that person you voted. You've given your vote to him, you've given your right to him, but you never even see him. You don't even talk to him or her. What kind of democracy is that? It's not participative. And it was not possible earlier because communication facilities were not there. So you send a person from your constituency to capital, and then whenever he comes home, you can talk to him for a while. But now with hyperconnectivity, the world has changed. The democracy must change too. Okay.
Sounds good, Sam. Looking forward to discuss more of your thoughts on technology, innovation's role in democracy, and also how to redesign democracy. I hope you might have written about all of this in your book, Idea of Democracy.
Yes, I've tried. I'm not an expert on this. I'm not a political scientist. I'm not a social scientist. I'm just a normal human being. And I express my thoughts as a concerned citizen. The only thing I can say is when you're old, you think you have some wisdom, which may not be true, but you think you have some wisdom. Okay.
You are at the crossroads of entrepreneurship, technology, and taking an active role in democracy, playing different roles in the government itself. Which has given you a different sort of wisdom, Sam. Which we are very keen to listen and take it forward and try see in case if we can do few of those in our lives.
I look forward to sharing it with you, but I also want active participation from all of you young people. I want very active participation from you. That's why I'm doing it.
Sure, exactly.
So look forward to your energy because you give me energy too. Okay. And I want that.
thing, Sam. So I think
Thank
we
you,
are
everybody.
actively fighting. Let's see. I think the next 2 to 3 months is going to be very important for India. So
Yeah.
looking
Thanks.
forward.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, sir. Thanks. Get well soon.
Bye, Dev.
Speedy
Bye-bye.
recovery.
Thank you. Look forward to seeing you next week.
Yeah, next week. Bye.